Welcome to my channel, beautiful infinite beings. Thank you so much for your likes, shares, subscriptions, and comments. Today's thoughts are around the top 10 things not to tell someone who is newly diagnosed with cancer. As some of you know, my personal story is around HER2 metastatic breast cancer, the icky stuff. And it was particularly difficult to hear the news about the cancer. But what is even more difficult is when you have people that care about you and or love you, and they kind of put their foot in their mouth because they're maybe not too sure what to say. So hopefully I can help you a little bit with that today. So top 10 things. Number 10, saying nothing, completely freezing. It's really, really difficult when you get the news. It can be really disheartening and isolating, so disappearing when they didn't ask for space is really hurtful. If you're a person that wants to help but you're just not sure what to say, not saying nothing, not saying anything is not the way to go either. It would be better for you to say, hey, I'm not even really sure to say what to say with this. This has got to be really, really difficult for you to hear, but I need you to know that I'm here for you and I'll support you in any way that I can. Number 9. What? You're the healthiest person that I know. Okay, but I still got sick with this thing or diagnosed with this thing, and I don't know that that has anything to do with that part of healthiness. And there are many factors that go into breast cancer, particularly the metastatic breast cancer. And there's all different kinds of cancer. So when you say that to a person who has prided themselves on being healthy, maybe they worked out or that forth or something, they may take it sideways, like there was something that they could have done to prevent it or change something. And that's really not usually the case. Yeah, okay, diet, this, that, and the other. But if a person is doing all that they know to do, all you're doing is making them feel a little shamed. So it'd be better to kind of leave that one out. Number 8, everything is gonna be fine. Okay, but guess what? It's not fine now. And they still have quite a road to traverse. They have from point A, which is I'm having this issue that people are diagnosing cancer, to being fine. There's all these steps in between. So take the steps with them. You know, love them along the way. Telling them it's going to be fine in the end doesn't help them for today when they're going through chemo symptoms or other concerns. Be there for them. Number 7, are you going to be able to have sex? My friends told me that they weren't able to have sex. First of all, if a person is dealing with a new diagnosis, the last thing they're probably thinking about is sex. They're thinking about, am I gonna live? I get it that if you're a partner, you might want to know the answer to that, but maybe save that for a sidebar conversation with a doctor or a nurse or something like that. Have that kind of a powwow later. And again, everyone is different. For some people, their skin might be, falling off. They might have all kinds of abscesses and sores in, their nether regions and things like that. So they're probably not thinking about that during the time of chemo especially. But work with them. You never know. Number 6. Well, my other friend has chemo and they're fine. Or they had chemo at this time for 6 weeks and they're fine. Well, guess what? Everybody doesn't have the same chemo regimen. Some are a little bit more harsh than others. And to tell someone that about someone else, who cares? It's their journey. Second of all, they might be fine one day and then the next day they're not so fine. They're super tired, or they can't keep stuff down, or they're not even hungry because nothing tastes right. So it's a whole big thing. Maybe Google it to find out if you find out their particular type of diagnosis. Number 5. This has made me think of my own mortality. Yeah, I said it. So I did have a girlfriend who managed to make the conversation be about her even when I got the most devastating news of my life. And at the moment, it was less than 40 minutes after my own diagnosis. In fact, the doctor put her head down because she didn't want to tell me, and that's how I found out that I was positive for this thing. So try not to compare to other people or even to yourself. I'm sure that does go through everyone's mind, you know, especially when the person is so young, and repeating that is not really helpful. Just let them have their moment and hold them, even if you're there in spirit and you're just, you know, hugging them. Sometimes we don't know what to say, right? Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Number 4, are you worried about it? Are you worried about how you're gonna look after? Yeah, of course. Of course they're worried about it. If they're anything like me, and I'm not particularly shallow, but the first thing out of my mouth as a brown woman with long hair down to her butt, natural hair, that I worked on for a very long time was, is this chemo gonna make me lose my hair? Okay. So yeah, they're concerned about the whole looks thing. Concerned about, you know, all of the pictures that we've all seen with, or many of us have seen with mastectomies and that sort of thing. Of course, anything, losing parts, there are a lot of troublesome things, but it's something to diverse together. And people need to hear that maybe you can't make it all better, but you can at least try to help them through some of that. Number 3, let me know what I need. Well, guess what? The person doesn't know what they need. They are newly diagnosed, and especially if this is their first absolute time. For me, I had never had any type of real illness before, like past a cold, maybe a little bit of flu for a couple of days. So you don't know what you need. Find out together, research, ask the nurses, and then ask them if they need that. Number 2, well, so-and-so had it and they died. Okay, I don't even know how that could possibly help anyone to hear that. I don't think that's a good thing to say. Just leave that out. Enough said. And number 1, well, I heard that kind of cancer is not that bad. Not that bad. I think that cancer is what it is, and it's their own fight. So whether or not tons of people survived it or no one survived it, it's their walk. So be in the walk with them. So these are just some of the thoughts in my head, and things that I've actually heard. If you've heard some other things, comment below and let me know. How did you make it through? Anyway, final words: be thoughtful, be empathetic, and put yourself in their shoes. And maybe you'll come up with some things that you can say from the heart. Smooches.
Thanks for watching, Infinite Beings. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, smooches.